Good morning, and welcome to Mindful Movement with AARP Alabama. Glad to have you this morning. I'm Margie Curry, your host, and today's segment today will be with our certified yoga instructor, Becca Impello, who has been practicing and teaching yoga more than 20 years. Now, we want to remind you that AARP empowers people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization that has over 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate for those 50 plus and their families. AARP Alabama is committed to offering opportunities for people to stay engaged from their home. The Mindful Movement series provides an opportunity for you to keep moving in the safety of your own home. And we're going to have Becca, and there she is. Good morning, Becca.
Good morning, Margie. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. What do you have planned for us today?
Well, today we're going to make sure we move and use our whole body, as I always try to do, but we'll put a little extra emphasis on the neck and the upper back, that shoulder region where many of us get so tight and stiff sometimes. So that's where our extra emphasis will be today, but we'll do something for the whole body.
Sounds fantastic. Sounds great. But don't forget, everyone, please remember that any exercise routine you must remember to begin with your physician to be sure it's okay to participate and it's safe for you. So, Becca, we're ready to get started.
Okay, great. We're going to be doing our session like we usually do with the use of a chair. Now, a lot of times the chair is optional, such as when we stand up, you may decide you don't need to hold on or use the chair quite as much, and that's perfectly fine. And if for any reason you would like to sit on the ground, you are welcome to, right? Some people will think of yoga as something that you do on the ground, but I want you to know that it's perfectly fine to do these practices from a chair. And I recommend that you use, a sturdy, straight back kind of chair. It's best if you get out of the couch or the lazy boy, just so you have a more firm surface. You're going to be able to sit up a little bit taller, feel and move your spine a little bit easier. So that's really all you need to have, right? Okay, so we're going to just come to sitting in our chair. We're going to do just a little bit of breathing to start with, all right? So I want you to bring a hand to your heart, kind of right there on the breastbone or the chest, and bring a hand to your abdomen, right, to your belly. We're just putting these hands here to help us feel the breath in our body. All right, and then you're just going to see if you can take a deep breath in and try to breathe into that belly first. And then let the second half of your inhale come into your chest. Exhale, everything drops, everything softens, right? So slower and longer with that breath as you practice it a few times. Okay, give yourself time to adjust. Inhale, belly, chest. Exhale, all out. A couple more times. Inhale, belly, chest. And this is just a good time to notice as you're doing this, breathing with your hands here on your body, is your tendency to move mostly in your chest and not very much in your belly? Or is it the opposite? Is your tendency to move mostly in the belly and not so much in the chest? So this just gives you an opportunity to notice your own body and your own breathing pattern and begin to work on shifting it a little bit, trying to get some movement in both places, both areas of the body. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Belly, chest, exhale. It's also nice to get movement out or movement expanding the body as you inhale, and then that softening or retracting of the body as you exhale. 2 more breaths. Last one. All right, let those hands drop down to your lap. All right, let's begin to loosen up the neck. Keep these movements small and gentle throughout, right? And when I say small, I mean you can move as far as your body feels comfortable moving, and it's okay if your movement is small. You don't have to force your movement. You don't have to make, the biggest movement possible. You want to work within the right parameters for your body today. So that takes a lot of paying attention, noticing how you feel. All right, now we're going to do a nodding motion next. Chin down and chin up. Now that uplift of the chin, be careful. Make sure the back of your neck feels comfortable with that. You don't want to move into anything that feels painful. All right, now the next time that chin is down, we're going to make some semicircles. Roll that head over to one shoulder, sort of like you're putting your ear up there, and then roll it forward across the chest and over and onto that other shoulder. And just keep doing that a couple more times, rolling that head right to left across the chest. Good. And the next time that head is center, the chin is towards the chest, just pause. And then pick that head up. All right, now let's loosen up the shoulders a little bit. Begin to roll those shoulders. Bring them forward a bit, up towards the ears, and then squeeze them back, and then drop them down. Do that a couple more times, maybe slowing it down so you can really feel all those directions of movement. Again, maybe it's hard for you to bring those shoulders back. Maybe that feels a little sticky, but the more you practice it, the more mobility you will get there. All right, 2 more shoulder rolls. Now let's loosen up the arms a little bit more. Go ahead and take and make some circles with your arms. Just reach those arms forward and then circle them back and down. Now you may be bringing those arms right up close to your head and your ears, or some folks may not be able to quite go that far with their arms or their shoulders, so you can make your circle a little different, a little broader out to the side. Whatever movement you can make is good movement, right? 3 more here. You can continue to take a nice deep breath with these movements. 1 more time with those arms. And then with those hands at your side, circle your wrists. Still want you to make those movements slow. When we make our movements more slow, they're a bit more purposeful. We tend to get a little bigger range of motion. Go the other way with your wrist circle. Moving slowly also makes us use more muscular control, not rely quite as much on momentum. All right, shake out those hands, those arms. All right, let's loosen up and just warm up through some of the leg joints before we move on. So I want you just to start by marching. You could hold on to the chair if you feel like you need a little more stability. You're trying to stay straight and tall in your spine, and then just picking your knee up as high as you comfortably can so that we're using some of these muscles at the hips. Good. Now let's switch it on to the knee joint. Let's alternate straightening one leg at a time. Again, try to stay sitting up nice and tall. We don't want to roll back or slouch back. It may be hard for some folks to get their knee all the way straight if your hamstrings are tight. So you go kick that foot out there, as far as works for your body. A couple more times. Notice how those knee joints feel. All right, then let's hold one foot forward and circle that ankle. Again, slow circles, just like we did with the wrist, and then go the other way. Good. And then let's switch to the other leg. Stick that foot out in front of you. Circle. Big, slow circles. Pay attention. Maybe watch your own foot and ankle as it circles around. Go the other way. Now, I'm barefoot, which you may notice, but you don't have to be, right? So if it feels better for you to keep your shoes on, you can do all these motions with shoes if you want to. All right, take that down. Now we're going to go ahead and stand up or get out of our chair and do a little bit more to warm up and loosen the spine. Now this is going to be one where you have a choice about using the chair or getting down to the floor, okay? So if you don't want to get down to the floor, you don't need to. You're just going to get in front of your chair. This is, again, why you want a firm chair, nothing too soft. And you're going to just put your hands in the seat of the chair with your feet a little bit back so they're underneath the hips. Now, if you want to do this on the floor, simply come down and be in hands and knees on the ground. All the movements are pretty much the same, all right? So we're going to loosen up our back and our hips by rounding up towards the ceiling. Push into the hands, tuck the tail, let your chin drop, and then go the other way. Lift the tailbone up, lift the chest up, bring the gaze a little more forward. And then let's just go back and forth. Good. Now, if you're standing like I'm doing, you're going to want to probably bend your knees at least a little bit, maybe a lot when you do that flatter back. Okay, they'll probably be okay straight when you're rounding the back. Now, of course, if you're down on hands and knees on the floor, that won't really matter because you'll be in bent knees the whole time. All right, two more. We call this cat and cow, this movement in yoga. Great for the spine. Good to do anytime you're feeling a little stiff in your back. All right, now we're going to loosen up the hips a little bit more. Come to the center so your back is more flat or straight, and then start to circle your hips around. So you're just going to push the hips over to one side, make a circle with them back behind your feet. All right, if you're in hands and knees, it's exactly the same circular motion with those hips. All right, now let's switch direction. Go a few times around the other way. All right, excellent. Now let's go ahead and bring that left foot closer to the chair and the right foot back. We're coming into a lunge. I'll show you what to do if you're on the ground in just a moment. All right. And you could keep your fingertips on the chair here, or you could come up with those hands, all right? If you're down on the floor, you're going to bring one foot forward and come up, and you just keep that knee down on the ground, and you'll be able to have those hands either at the heart or up pretty easily. So maybe standing lunge using the chair, maybe down on the floor. Now let's take a couple more breaths with this one. Push those feet into the ground, squeeze that right buttock a little bit, and then come on down, and we're going to switch sides. So step the other foot forward. Good. Bent front knee. This is a lunge, and you can come fingertips on the chair or come hands off of the chair, maybe even arms up towards the ceiling. Push into those legs like you're pushing down into the ground, also lifting up through the chest and maybe up through the arms if you're using them overhead. And then bring it on down if your hands are up. And let's everybody come all the way up to standing tall. So even if you were down on the hands and knees on the floor, now's the time to come up and stand all the way up tall. Now, let's just have that chair so that it makes for a little more easy balance support. Maybe get yourself around to the tall part of it or the back of it. You could also be near a wall, and some of you may not feel like you need to worry about anything there. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a staggered stance. Put one foot back and one foot close to the chair. And just hold a nice firm press through those legs. It'll feel like what we just did a moment ago. But now we're going to do some things with the upper back. Remember I said we're going to do a little bit of extra for the neck, the upper back, and the shoulders. So hands are at the heart. Pull back, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then push forward out in front of you. Okay, rounding that upper back a little bit. All right, so it's an inhale, pull, exhale, push. And we really want to get those shoulder blades moving, squeezing them back, and then pulling them around the rib cage towards the shoulders, pulling them back, and then broadening them out. 2 more times. This is also a nice mobilization for your upper back, your spinal joints there in the thoracic region. Last one. Good. Now, hands either on the top of the chair, or if you don't using a chair, maybe hands on a wall nearby, or a piece of furniture that's countertop height. And then just walk those feet back, press the hips back, lengthen out the whole body there. Take another breath in and out. And then we'll come in. We need to just bring the other foot forward. We're going to do the same thing, but just with the legs the other way. So bring the other foot forward. Find a good solid stance, strong legs, push them into the ground. Bring those hands up to the heart. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to add a little bit more. All right. So we'll pull back, but this time we're going to extend back. And then bend the elbows back to where we were, and then push forward then. All right, so we're just adding one little piece there. So inhale, pull back. Exhale, reach the arms straight back behind you. Inhale, bend the elbows. Exhale, push forward. Pull. Good, extend back. Bend the elbows. Push forward. 2 more times. Pull. Press back, bend the elbows, press forward. Last one. All right, great. We're going to do our stretch back again, hands on the top of the chair or on a wall or another piece of furniture, and press back into those hips. Feel free to bend one knee and then the other here if you feel like wiggling a little bit would feel good. Good, and then walk it on in. We're actually going to come back to sitting in the chair, or again, you could sit on the floor if you wanted to. And we're going to do some more movements specifically for the neck and the shoulders. All right, so sit tall. We're going to bring the arms out to the sides, okay? Just palms facing forward with the elbows bent. Now, your elbows could be, sort of down near the waist, or you could pick those elbows up, bring them up level with the shoulders, right? That's going to be just a little more work on your arms, all right? And then we're going hand behind the head, other hand behind the back. So you have the palm touching the back of your head, the back of your hand touching somewhere there, your hip or your low back or your waist. All right, and then back to face forward, other way. One hand behind the head, one hand behind the back, and back out. We're just going to keep alternating. Now, for some of us, maybe we can get those hands to go a little further back, not stopping right there at the back of the head or at the back of the hips, but trying to bring those hands sort of towards the middle of your back. This works those shoulders. Could be tricky. Don't force. We got 2 more. Good. Drop those arms down, give those shoulders a little roll. All right, now as we go into some things, some movements and some stretches specifically for the neck, I just want to remind you that small movements are still very effective. There may be a sense that you've got to do as big as possible in order for there to be any real benefit. And that's just really not true, especially with an area like the neck where there's just a lot of small little muscles, a lot of joints, and some vulnerability, right? So make your movement small and know that those are still going to be effective. All right, so we're going to sit tall, drop that left ear towards the left shoulder, Just let it fall down to the side. All right. And then we're going to rotate. Turn your nose down, like you're pointing your nose at the shoulder on that side. And then slowly turn your nose forward and maybe a little bit up. And then turn it down. So the head is still tilted over to the left shoulder. And now we're rotating a little bit in that space. Remember, it's fine for the movements to be small. See what you notice. Good. The next time that nose is down, I want you to pause. So when that nose is pointing closer to the shoulder, pause. Roll the head forward to the center of the chest. And then pick it up. All right, pause, sit tall. We'll do the other direction. So tilt that ear, right ear towards the right shoulder. And then try adding that small bit of rotation. Nose down, nose back to the front and a little bit up, down, and up. Good. 2 more, rotating slowly, not forcefully. Next time that nose is down, let it stay down. And roll the chin back forward to the chest. And pick up that head. Good. All right, now let's see if you can reach back and maybe grab hold of your chair back there. So everybody may have a different style chair. So, sometimes this just doesn't work, right? Or your arms just feel too long or too short and you can't quite get a grasp on anything. So if you can't hold on to anything, reach back and leave it right there. Okay. If you can hold on to the chair some way, somehow, give it a hold. And then try and lift up through your breastbone. And do a little nodding of that head down and up, down and up. Good. Now let go of the chair or bring the arms forward, wrap them across the chest. Walk those hands as far back on your upper back as you can. I'm trying to avoid my microphone here. All right. And just give yourself a nice big hug. And I want you to breathe into your upper back. This is sort of stretch the backs of the shoulders. Take notice of which arm is on top. And then take them out nice and wide. Inhale. And then wrap them around again, crossing the other arm on top. Good. One more deep breath. You can drop your head forward if you want. And then open them back up and take one more big reach, either back or hold the chair once more. And then release it. Let the hands come back to the lap. All right, a little bit more stretching for the neck. This time we're going to involve the arm, okay? So we're going to let that head turn to the left and reach the right arm down and out. And then bring that hand back to the lap, bring the head back, turn to the right and reach the left arm down and out. And then bring it back. Keep that going. So opposite arm reaches down and away. You get to decide how strongly you make that arm reach. Reaching a little more, vigorously. We'll put a little more stretch into the side of the neck so you can make it softer or bigger depending on how that feels. Good. One more time to each side. Good. And then come back to center. Give those shoulders a little roll there. Maybe turn or shake that head. All right. Now hands come up behind the head. Just see if you can clasp those hands right behind the back of your skull. Let your elbows just gently come forward, not too forcefully. Sit up as tall as you can now and try to really reach up right through the crown of the head. And at the same time, gently press your head back into those hands that are cradling it. One more breath. You're sitting up tall, pressing the head back. And then relax. You can let the arms drop down, give it a shake. Let's do that again. This just provides a little bit of stabilizing effect, a little strengthening for the muscles around the neck. So hands behind the head, elbows a little bit forward. Sit up tall, right through the crown of the head. Gently press the head back into the hands. Hold there while you keep breathing. And then relax. Now let those hands slide down a little bit so they're right there behind the curve of your neck, right? So the hands are lower now. Good. And just see if you can bring your chin up just a tiny bit. And let your hands kind of squeeze in gently around the sides of your neck. And sometimes it feels good just to wiggle, sort of tilt the head right and left, or a little bit of turning. You can't go very far because the hands are holding, but it does give a little sort of massaging effect, a little stretching effect on those muscles. And then drop those hands back down into your lap. Good. We're going to do one more stretch for the shoulder region. You're going to take one arm across the chest and use the other arm, grabbing somewhere near the elbow, to gently pull it. Now, sometimes I like to also add a little stretch for the neck. So I've got my right arm across the chest. I'm going to tilt my head to the left, tilt it away from that right shoulder. And then bring the head up, drop the arms, take the other arm across. Again, you might choose to add that tilt of the head away from the shoulder that you're stretching, sort of towards that hand that's been pulled across the body. All right, bring that head up, bring the arm down. Feel free to scoot back a little bit in your chair if you want to. You can close your eyes here for a moment if you're okay with eyes closed. You just see if you can be aware of especially the neck and the shoulders right here for a moment. So we did, a number of different movements and stretches for that area of the body. So bring your awareness into it. See if you can notice anything about the way it feels right now. And then bring your awareness into your breath. If you want to place those hands back on the belly and or the chest, you could do so. Just come back into a sense of your breath moving in your body. Rise and fall. Inhale and exhale. Great. Now let the hands come together, palms together at the heart, a little gesture of gratitude. And you can bow your head just for a moment to say thank you to your body and gratitude to AARP of Alabama for giving us this opportunity to move and be mindful together. Thanks for joining us. We do have a survey, so I know that link has been put out there. We really love to hear what you think about these programs so we can continue to serve you in the best way possible. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Becca. Oh, that really feels good for the shoulders this morning. Thank you very much for that.
You're
Folks,
welcome.
we thank you for joining us today. And please continue to join us each Tuesday at 10 o'clock a.m. Central Time for our next Mindful Movement session. Also, as Becca said, we do have a survey and we'd love to hear what you think about our program. But thanks again for tuning in today, and we'll see you again at the next Mindful Movement series. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Margie.
Bye, Becca.